right. Well, good evening, everybody. Welcome to PNAA's Shine Like a Star Mastering Job Interviews for New Nurse Grads. I'm Manny Ramos, your host for tonight's webinar. I am the membership chair of PNAA, and tonight we will be presenting you something that you can use for your future jobs. And some of you who probably already graduated, this will also be very, very useful. Okay, let me just stop share. There we go. Let me introduce to you, and Carol, if you would spotlight them as I introduce them. Our presenters tonight are Dr. Pamela P.V. Lewis, DNP, NEABC, CNE. She's a seasoned nurse leader and educator with more than 4 decades of experience in clinical practice, leadership, and academic preparation. Drawing on her extensive experience as a hiring manager and director, she has recruited nurses for both bedside and leadership positions and understands what employers look for in strong candidates. As a certified nurse education panelist and presenter, she will guide you through, together with our other presenters and our facilitators, the STAR method, an essential interviewing strategy to help you communicate your strengths with clarity, confidence, and impact. Our second presenter is Dr. Joanna Velasquez, Assistant Professor in the Department of Undergraduate Studies at Pace University's Leinhardt School of Nursing. She brings more than 20 years of combined clinical practice and academic teaching experience to her role. Her professional background includes extensive expertise in perioperative nursing. Last but not the least is Dr. Catherine Abram Rego. She's the advisor of our Student Membership Task Force. She is Professor Emerita at San Jose State University, the Valley Foundation School of Nursing, where she has made great contributions in that university, mentoring and honing the nurses that are now all over the United States. So these are our 3 presenters tonight. I would also like to introduce, and let me share back the PowerPoint, the members of our membership task force, student membership task force. We have, I told you we have Dr. Kathy Abram Yego, our advisor. She is from PNA Northern California. Dr. Pamela P.V. Lewis, from PNA Ohio, Dr. Avi Villaroya. From PNA Cincinnati, Northern Kentucky, Dr. Joanna Velasquez from PNA New York, Dr. Holly Tenaglia from PNA Virginia, Dr. Arlene Azores from PNA New Jersey, Gigi Narisma Estabillo, she's the president of PNA South Riverside County, Shelito Matias Swartz, the previous president of PNA Hawaii, and Dr. Princess Garces of PNA Corpus Christi. All right, and now let me hand it over to Dr. Pamela P.V. Lewis.
Thank you, Manny. Well, welcome everybody. We're so excited to have you here. We're going to go to a good journey today. And what we're going to do is talk to you about getting the job you want using interviewing and techniques. Next slide. So our agenda today will include introductions, which was done. I'm going to start off with first impressions and communication. We'll go over the STAR method, and then we'll have an interactive activity with all of you. We've ended up with some tools and tips and takeaways, and then a question answer session. Next slide. So our objectives for today is that the participants will list 4 STAR methods to answer for behavioral based interview questions, explain why behavior interview is used to select candidates for a position in a healthcare setting, and apply the STAR method to specific scenarios. Next slide. So let's begin with the foundation of a successful interview. It begins with communication and that first impression. What you communicate before and during the interview kind of sets the tone on what's going to happen next. Before the interview, some things you want to do. Do your homework. What does that mean, Dr. Lewis? Well, you're applying for a hospital. You want to research that hospital, look at their culture, look at their mission, look at their patient population. Is it congruent with yours? Because as you'll notice as we talk about it, this interviewing process is a two-way street. You're going to decide if that's the place right for you, and they're going to decide are you a good fit for them as well. So do your homework. I've interviewed many managers and many nurses throughout the year, and I can always tell when someone came prepared in during their interview. One of the things you can do is go to the website. Every hospital has something that they're bragging about their institution. So look at their website and bring that up as a note during general conversations. The other thing you want to do is rehearse your answers. Today, we're going to teach you how to use the STAR method, and you can structure your examples. Some of the common questions will be around education, it'll be around your clinical experience, or even just your strengths. So the more to practice, the more confident you are, and the natural it'll seem as you'll start your delivery. You want to also make sure you look professional and present yourself professional. What does that mean? You arrive about 10 to 15 minutes early, and it shows your reliability. It also shows that you're not over anxious. You want to dress neatly and conservative, avoid bold colors. Red is a bossy color or a leadership color, or even those different patterns. You know, the time to be stylish is not now on the interview. You want to look professional and conservative when you do it. And then also, you want to make sure that your appearance communicates your professionalism before you even speak one word. A couple things to avoid before the interview. Make sure that you don't come too early. The 10 to 15 minutes is a good measurement. You want to also make sure if you have coats and things when it's cold outside, take those off in the interview. Don't sit with a coat on. Don't sit with a hat on. Any of those distracting patterns. And then make sure you formally greet your person that's interviewing you. Don't call them by their first name unless you ask for permission first or they give you permission. You always want to get their name. And when they actually introduce you, as you go along through the interview and before it ends, ask them for a business card. And when I talk about later about after interview, I'm going to tell you what you're going to do with that business card that'll make your interview even more impressive. And then if you have a message coming from you prior to the interview, make sure you answer it properly. And if they ask you for any additional information or documentation, make sure you get that to them as quick as possible. These small little steps give a good impression when you make sure that you are doing these things. Now, during the interview, the communication of confidence and professionalism is your body language. Are you sitting up straight? Are you having eye contact? You don't want to stare them down, but you definitely want to give some eye contact. It shows that you're confident in what you're saying, and your words speak louder than anything else. The next thing is we talked about, respectful language. As you're addressing them formally, make sure you stay focused. Don't try to ramble or overshoot yourself or overspeak, and never, ever, ever speak negative of a past employer. Even if you had a negative situation with a prior employer and they say, well, how was your last job? Why did you leave your last job? You can easily say that job gave me an opportunity for growth. I learned a lot of things there. I really appreciated using the job. And then professional communication, we talked about some common things during the interview, not to do as a mistake. When you are entering into the room, it's normal to have the person to tell you to have a seat, but don't sit down before the interviewer does. And again, never use their first name. One of the things we're anxious about when we're job shopping, we want to know how much you're going to pay me, when I'm going to get time off, all of those perks. Don't ask that stuff too early. You want to make sure that at the end of the interview, or either when they say we're going to continue to interview other candidates, that you can ask them those questions on that second call back. So don't ask that too early as well. And then if anything, chip up your motivation. Be excited about the interview. Smile. Be present in the interview. Normally you'll get a question is, what is your career goals? You want to make sure that you have some career goals. You're like, well, Dr. P.V. Lewis, I just graduated from nursing school. I just want to be a nurse. Well, that's good. One of your career goals is to make yourself to become competent within the first year or two. Maybe another goal for that is you may want to look certification in the field that you're in. If you're in OB or ER, it usually takes 2 years of hours before you can even apply for the certification. But have at least those two things down as your goal if you don't have a goal right now. Your goal may be to finish your education, and that would be fine. So these are just some small tips before and during the after interview, and then we're going to talk a little bit about after the interview, some things to help you to solidify that job you want. Now we're going to have Dr. Valles, I'm so sorry, uh, Valasqui. I said her name wrong. Joanna is going to next do the next slide.
Thank you, Dr. Lewis. It's okay. It's Dr. Velasquez. Close enough, though. Close enough. Thanks for trying. So just to piggyback on what Dr. Lewis already started talking about, right? So before we dive into the STAR method, what are the different types of interview? Just so you have a sense of what are you walking in there, right? So the first one is what we call the unstructured interview. When we talk about an unstructured interview, this is something that really requires low or minimal planning on the side of the interviewer, because the goals usually for these kinds of interview may be unclear. Usually there are questions that are not prepared in advance. And oftentimes the interviewer does more talking than the applicant. So not a very, very good way to get to know your applicant. However, this is still something that is most commonly used as a selection tool in today's hiring process. The second type of interview is what we call the semi-structured interviews. And this is something that would require some type of planning. And it would allow the flow to be more focused and directed at very specific and major topic areas. There's usually some sort of flexibility when the interviewer is using this type or approach of interviewing. And then lastly, there's also what we call the structured interviews. So when we talk about structured interviews, this is something that would actually require a lot of planning on the side of the interviewer, because their questions must be developed in advance. And now the more common trend is happening, and it's with regards to interviewing through a team approach. So this means that a group of individuals participate in the interview process. Say, for example, you are applying for a staff nurse position. So in addition to the hiring manager who's doing the interview, they may also invite other staff members, another staff nurse, or maybe if the department have their own nurse educator or a clinical nurse specialist, they may also join your interview. Next slide, please. Thank you. And so more and more hiring managers are actually starting to use behavior-based interviews. And this means that the questions that they're going to be asking the interviewees will be focused on their experiences, right? But it's going to be more focused on their behaviors, their skills, their abilities. And this type of interviewing is based on the principle that past behavior predicts future behaviors. Next slide, please. And so behavior-based interviewing really includes job-related questions. It is good with regards to consistency because the interviewer can conduct similar interviews with every candidate. By using behavior-based interviewing, the interviewers get information rather than opinions. So it's very accurate with regards to getting facts. It also compares the candidate's answers to the job criteria. And lastly, by using behavior-based interviewing, decisions are made based on the candidate's skills rather than the interviewer's gut feeling. Next slide, please. And so what exactly are behavior-based questions? So when we talk about behavior-based questions, these are questions that are looking for examples of behaviors from your past experiences, and it's focused on job-related questions. They're usually worded as open-ended questions where the interviewee will need to give answers that's more than a yes or a no. And it usually would start with, tell me about, or usually it will say, describe a situation when. Most of these questions can also be asked in a why format, I know in nursing, we are like, don't ask why. That's not therapeutic. So with regards to behavior-based questions, the interviewer can actually ask you why. And this is to actually find a rationale for your decisions. It's also used to determine your level of motivation. So some examples may include, why do you want to work for this organization? And then again, that's why, as Dr. Lewis pointed out, make sure that you do your homework. Usually they can also ask, why did you become a nurse? So these are common questions. Make sure that you're ready and you have an answer prepared for this. And so now that we know what behavior-based questions are, how exactly do we answer them? And so to teach you how to do that, I turn it over to my colleague, Dr. Kathy Abraham Yago, to teach us how to use the STAR method.
Welcome, everyone. So the STAR method is a real key to how you get the job that you want. And we start with 4 different steps: the situation, the task, action, and results. So I'm going to share you a little scenario on how all these can apply to the STAR method. And my story or my scenario was about someone was asking me about, tell me a time when you had to work with someone that was English is not the second language. So one of the things that came up to mind was a scenario where I was working in critical care, and my colleague came to me and said, Kath, I need your help. This patient is so confused, I have to tie him down. Now, back in the day when I went to school and I went to work, you could do that. Now you can't be tying patients down, right? So the scenario or the situation was a colleague came to me, asked me for help to tie this patient down. And I said, wait a minute, I'm still working on my assessment with my patients, and I'll be there when I'm finished with my assessments. Okay, so the background, the nurse came in, says she needs help, and we have to tie him down because that was what she thought we needed to do. Well, the situation came about where I went to the patient's room where my colleague was taking care of the patient. Well, I could see why she thought the patient was confused, because when I was growing up, I'm Ilocano, and Ilocano is a dialect in the Philippines. And this man, if you did not understand Ilocano, it looked like he maybe was confused. But in his dialect, he was saying, nurse, nurse, help me. I need your help. I'm in so much pain. Help me. So then I thought I better go talk to the nurse and my colleague. And I said, this man is not confused. He is in a lot of pain. Did you give him pain medication? And she said, yes, I did 30 minutes ago. But I said, I think you need to call the doctor because he's still in a lot of pain. So that was the action. So I thought, what did I do? I elaborated, talked to them, and explained to her that this man was not confused, but he needed more pain medication. And what really upset me about the situation is this was an experienced critical care nurse. And I tell you, that situation changed my life, where I decided no individual should go through this type of a scenario. Even though maybe English is their second language, why didn't the nurse look at the position of the patient? Patient is sweating. The patient, again, blood pressure, vital signs were off. And I was so concerned about this, I decided to make a change in my life. And I decided I'm going to go back, get my degree, and I'm going to be a nurse educator. And that's what happened. It was something that changed my life. So you can see there was a situation, the task, the action, and then the results to what had occurred. And I think it's important because with the type of strategy of the STAR method, and because that the interviews are usually done with a panel, that it's important that you think about two sets that would be able to, you'd be able to answer, for example, about working with a team, working in a time where you were rushed and you didn't feel like you did the best nursing care that you could do, because that could also be one of those questions. There could be a time where compassion and caring. I will never forget one time where a student nurse that I was supervising in the clinical, and it was a 2-bed room. Well, the patient that was in sharing that room with the that my student was taking care of coded. And so she saw the situation, everybody's running in, and you know how it is with a code. People are throwing things, people are yelling things, and what this student did automatically took the wheelchair, because the patient was not bedridden, took the wheelchair, got the patient in the wheelchair. So the situation is, you got a code going on. The task for that student was get that patient out of there because it's very upsetting. And so then her action was to be able to now get that wheelchair and then get the patient out. And I have to tell you, when that nurse manager saw the student take the patient out on the wheelchair, she said to the student, when you graduate, you come directly to me because I'm going to hire you. Wow, amazing. The other thing I also want to explain to you too, that you should have some answers to question, again, that directs something in communication. What I shared with you was an individual whose English was not their first language. So you may talk about something like that. Or the time that also, how did you use your critical thinking skills? So giving you these ideas about these specific topics and having two types of answers to this would be very important. Now, you have to remember too, as a new grad, you may not have experienced all the different scenarios that they may ask you or questions they may ask you. But you can relate it to a situation that could be from your home, you're a mom, you were doing this, or you know how you handle that time management. So that's also acceptable. It'll give the opportunity for the panelists to for you to explain how you dealt with those scenarios, though it's not necessarily in the hospital. Okay, next slide. Again, these are some of the things I mentioned about communication, having an answer to a communication or sharing a scenario. Now, in our school, and maybe in your school too, you remember you had to write nursing care plans, you had to write reflection papers, get your scenarios from those types of projects that you completed, those papers that you've completed. Because in that way, those scenarios is something that you own and you're not too nervous about it because it happened to you. And you could also make a comment about, I did this, but I think I could have also added a different scenario. Maybe I should have talked to the nurse manager first about this, you know, so they can see your thinking skills in a scenario that you're going to be talking about or answering a question on that scenario. Like again, it says, describe the most complex patient scenario. And what did you do? Okay, next slide, please. The other one is the area of teamwork and collaboration. How do you work with your colleagues as a new grad? And one of the things is really important is about, again, as Dr. White talked about, is the fact that you also need to be able to think about these scenarios and at the same time also be able to give some rationale for how you responded to those questions and reflect, because that also gives them idea that yes, you thought about it, you reflect about it, and you're going to get better on this. The other thing is also on timing here that we have that, like I mentioned earlier, it's a hectic day. How could you have been more effective? And then the other situation is also your compassion and caring. Give me an example where you've been an advocate for a patient on behalf of a patient. So those things are important. And I have to tell you, in the web, there are so many examples of other questions that you can practice with. One of the things I would recommend is when you're practicing response to these types of behavior interviews, you practice and practice and practice, not only practicing, but also it's very important that you also tape or record yourself. Have one of your friends record how you respond or how people would be looking at you when you respond to these interview questions. Because I remember there was one student that came and said to me, "Oh, you know what happened? I didn't realize I was, playing with my hair." And that was just part of her nervousness. So I would say, okay, next time you go, maybe you need to sit on your hands so you won't be playing with your hair. And so that makes it a little bit more, you're a little bit more at ease. And because it's your story, it's the scenario that you're responding to, that again, looking at those nursing care plans, looking at your reflection papers, and those things are going to be important. Next slide, please. All right, we're going to break out for about 20 minutes. And we're going to have some fun activities now.
Yeah. Let me give the rules of engagement. Dr. Yago, and thank you, Dr. P.V. Lewis, Dr. Joanna Velasquez, and Dr. Abiam Rago. Those are really wonderful tips. And I was listening intently, and I'm sure our students were also listening very closely and taking down notes. But we are now going into breakout rooms. So there will be 8 breakout rooms. We will have facilitators in those. So in room number 1 is going to be Dr. Pamela P.V. Lewis. Room number 2 is going to be Dr. Joanna Velasquez. Room number 3, Dr. Kathy Yago. Room 4, Dr. Abby Villaroya. Room 5, Dr. Princess Garces. Room 6, Dr. Manny Ramos. Room 7, Dr. Holly Tenaglia. And room 8 will be Professor Gigi Narisma Estabillo. So in those breakout rooms, we keep that space psychologically safe. Let's speak respectfully, and we will be providing feedback. We will be doing a role play, okay? So our facilitators will play the role of the hiring manager, and they will ask for a volunteer from the participants in the break room who will be playing the role of the employee applicant, right? So they will be the interviewee. So after each role play, there will be a series of questions, and each one we will ask a volunteer, but we will have a short critique after each one. Let's make sure that we speak respectfully and critique the behaviors, not the people. We will start with the strengths, then offer constructive suggestions, be specific. We will stay on time and make sure everyone has a voice. We will support each other as we learn through the practice. We will have about 20 minutes in that break room. The actual role play scenario will be 15 minutes. We allotted some time for you to get in there, organize yourself, and also to close that role play discussion, right? At the end and the last minute, there will be a 60-second warning, and you don't need to do anything. It's just gonna say you have 60 minutes to wrap this up, and then you will automatically be transported back into this main room. You don't need to do anything, or you can click leave room and you will be back into the main room. All right. So here we go. Oh, and one last thing, the STAR method tip sheet will be on the chat box, right? So you can click that to refer. So if you are the one who volunteered to answer the question, refer to it when you answer the interview question. There is no right and wrong question because this is just a practice session. So don't be afraid to make mistakes. It is through discussing those mistakes perhaps, or highlighting the strengths of the interview that we will learn. All right, see you at the break room.
Hello, good evening, everyone. Can you hear me?
Princess, I think you're still in the main room.
I am.
Yeah. You're on room 5. Hi, for those that are still here in the main room, you click join so you can join your group. So the others that are still here in the main room, please click join to join the others. A few more. Go ahead and click that join button. Okay, there's a few more. Please hit the join button. Go ahead and click the join button. For those who just joined in, please click join to join the other breakout rooms. Again, for the others, please click the join button so you can join the others. Hi, for those who just joined us, click join to join the group. Hello, we're just waiting for the rest to come back from their breakout rooms.
Just gonna say really quick, thanks, Samantha. That was great sharing. We got clicked off, but it was fine. Thank you so much.
I'm sorry, Jerry, we ran out of time. You're muted, Manny.
So we're thank you. That was great. I don't know about y'all, but I had fun in my break room. How about the others?
I think
You
I'm
did
gonna
too?
hire all the people that I interviewed.
Me
Oh,
too. You're all
well,
amazing.
that is nice. Very good, very good. All right, let's do our final tips and takeaways.
All right, so our final tips and takeaway. Now you have a strong impression, right? Know how to do a strong impression and carry it professionally into the interview. But it's not the last step. We have to do a little follow up afterwards. So your interview is over, but when it's not over when you walk out the door. After the interview, it often leaves a longing, lasting impression. So here's some things you can do after an interview. First of all, you want clarification in the next steps. So before you leave, if they haven't mentioned to you already, what can I expect next, or when can I expect to hear from you? What would that look like? And they will be able to give you that. You also want to make sure that you thank the interviewer sincerely before you leave. Gratitude is rememberable. And when you thank them, if they haven't given you already, ask for a business card. And I'm telling you to ask for a business card because it has their email message on it, their email letter on it. And what you're going to do with that, when you get home promptly, you're going to send out an electronic thank you card as well. So you've done it in person and you can do it electronically. And if you interview some of the staff, if they have business cards, I don't know if they do, you can get it. If not, if it's the manager and the team interviews you, when you send that thank you card to the manager, also make some little comments. Maybe you remember Sarah in the interview that, asked you something or something. You say, I'm very thankful for the interview. Your team was awesome. I enjoyed talking to Sarah and Brenda during the interview process. They made me feel comfortable. Whatever that is, mention it in that email because she'll share that with them. And you know what? If you get hired, they're going to remember that. And they're going to be welcoming to you during your orientation. And, oh, yeah, we interviewed her. That's a good thing. Come on, let's show her how. So get the business card. Now, because we're in the world of technology and you want to send it electronically, but you can also send a handwritten one as well. The slow mail will get there, but you've got it initially and you don't want to wait on sending that electronic one because they're interviewing not you, but other people too. And all people won't necessarily do a follow-up email. So make sure you do that. If they ask you for any transcripts or certifications or references, make sure you get those in a timely basis. And for my references, I always tell the person before I'm going on the interview, hey, I'm going to put you down as a reference. Many hospitals now, they send, when you give your reference email, they send them an electronic form to fill out for your reference. And if usually the people that I ask, they'll tell me, hey, I filled that form out for you. It's great. Thank you very much. So make sure that you tell your references ahead of time. And on your resume, you can actually write references and put their name and their email address and even their phone number, but ask for permission first. And that way it expedites the process for the HR department when they're finalizing and hiring you. A couple more things. You want to rehearse with a star. We rehearsed it a little bit today. You have a handout that we gave you. And on the bottom of that handout is some additional resource videos that you can watch. But practice, 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 because the more you practice, the more confident you are. And it says that you're building that clarity when you're answering these questions. Again, be on time and smile. I'm a big one for smiling. It's something about smile that gives energy and it matters. It matters to me when I interview someone and they have a smile versus someone that's stone-faced. So you may be nervous and have why you're stone-faced, but smile through the interview and smile at the end as well. And then after the interview, you want to think to yourself and reflect. Many of you in school have reflections that you have to do for clinical. Same thing with the interview. Reflect. What went well and what didn't go well, or what should I do a little different than before? Because it may not be your only interview, and hopefully it's not. I mean, you have a lot of resources, you're valuable, and you may want to go out for a couple different hospital jobs. And remember, it's a mutual agreement. Just because they say they want you, it has to be a nice fit for you as well. One last little tip is that when you go take copies of your resume, and I said this to my students, and like, we don't have a resume. I'm like, okay, go to GPT chat, put on the volume, and talk to chat and say, I need a resume. I'm a student nurse. I have a CPR card. I've worked in clinical for med surg. I've done this. I'm in the Girl Scouts or whatever you are. I'm in the church choir, and they will print you a resume. Of course, read it before, but GPT chat, use IA. It's okay to use IA to do that. I use it all the time. Carry extra copies of your resume. Make sure they're clean. It says that you're prepared and that you're organized. Remember, interviewing is a skill. From your first impression to your final note, you are communicating your readiness, you're communicating your professionalism, and you're communicating your value as a new nurse. With preparation and confidence, the STAR method will have you stand out as a strong candidate for anyone that wants to hire you. Next slide.
And these are just some additional resources that's available if you want to look also at other videos on how to answer the nursing interview questions, how to use the STAR method, and also Nursera. I think all nursing students know Nursera, so there's also a link here from Nursera, and that's it. Next slide, please. And yes, it's just time for the Q&A if you guys have any questions.
Yes, she has a question. Is it acceptable to have 2 pages for a resume? Yes, it is.
Let's and yes, please use the chat box to type your questions. Will this PowerPoint be sent to us? Presenters, can we share the PowerPoint after we clean it up?
Yes.
Yes, we will. We have your email because you registered, so it will be shared to all of you. All right. Other questions? What makes a candidate stand out during an interview? Any of the presenters can take it?
I can go. I think it's really all about how you present yourself, how you answer those questions. Because as I was talking to, when we were in our breakout session, like the examples that the students were giving me, you can tell that it's not AI generated. It was really something that they experienced. And even though they were answering a behavior question, it was really demonstrating their knowledge. Like one of them, Ben, mentioned, the patient has UTI, but usually they get confused when they have UTI, like elderly population. And I'm like, even though we're not discussing a clinical scenario, you just showed me that you know about what the signs and symptoms are. And so those kind of candidates usually would stand out because of how they present themselves and how they're able to answer questions, not just a specific question, but they're able to show also their clinical knowledge based on how they're responding.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Velasquez. Dr. Tenaglia, go ahead.
I just wanted to add something to what she said. Another thing that can help make you stand out is if you have questions for your interviewers as well. If they don't necessarily present the opportunity to you right away, asking if you can shadow or speak to some of their staff or just walk around that unit shows that you're interested. And so that investment that you have in the unit also shows, demonstrates that you'd like to work there as well.
Very good. All right. Our next question is from Bin. Bin asked, should we include our GPA? And when we graduated, I heard different opinions on this. Who's going to take that?
I'll start with that one.
Okay.
I would say no, because your diploma says that you have met the competencies, and the fact that you can't pass NCLEX also says that you're competent as a nurse. So I would say no. And I would tell you, in my 48 years of experience in interviewing myself. I've never had anyone ask me, what school did you graduate from? I'll take that back. One person, and that was because she graduated from DePaul University in Chicago like I did. But I've been on several interviews and no one asked me. They just want to know that, do you have a license and have you paid the state boards? Now, of course, if you're going to an academic type of setting, and as a new grad, you wouldn't. But as a educator, if you move on to an educator, they may want to look at transcripts and things like that. Of course, you go in higher education when you apply for a master's degree or a doctor's degree, for sure. That is a requirement that you put your transcripts there. But I wouldn't definitely put it on as a new grad. That diploma you have and the passing of the NCLEX, that's your certification of competency.
All right, we are open for one last question, and don't go away. And we will read that question. Don't go away because we will have picture taking. So if you feel comfortable opening your camera, because obviously we will be sharing this in social media, right? We were excited. We had like 162. Did you count, Carol? 100. I counted 162.
168 I counted.
168. Wow. This
Yeah.
is a well-attended webinar. Congratulations. Yes, so we will definitely take a photo. And if you're not shy sharing your face in social media, open your camera and we'll take photos. All right. Now, so don't go away yet. And there is an important announcement at the end that Dr. Tenaglia will share with you. So our last question is, I saw, there's actually two. And are you all or any of your colleagues hiring? So connect with them. You have our contact information. Connect with PNAA. You can actually, when you go to mypnaa.org, there is a, Carol, there is a tab there that you can click.
Career Center.
Yeah, the Career Center. You can read there. We publish different hiring opportunities, right? And also, there's a way to communicate with PNAA that goes to our membership chairperson, Carol Robles. Please wave your hand or open your mic so that they could see you.
Hello, you membership chair. That's you.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. Marketing and communications. Carol, where are you? Let me see.
Yeah. I'm here.
Let me highlight you there so that they see you. But anyway, we thank Chairperson, there she is, Carol Robles. She's been very, very instrumental in publishing this flyer, this webinar, marketing. That's why we have 168. She's so good at her job. And she's been also helping us. She's a multi-talented asset of PNAA. She's been helping us with technology. I'd say our webinar ran smoothly today, right? Including our breakout rooms. Thank you, Carol Robles. Okay, to our last question. I saw a video that mentioned it's important to ask questions during an interview. One question I've always wanted to ask is how to inquire about the hospital's support for nurses in cases of malpractice or negligent lawsuits. All right, who wants to take that on? Now, disclosure, none of us are lawyers. Okay, that's one thing. None of us are risk managers, unless some of you that I don't know, right? So that's just the disclosure. But of course, we can share our professional opinions. Who wants to be the first one to take that?
That's a hard one.
That's a great question. Let me repeat the question. Let me read it back. One question I've always wanted to ask is how to inquire about the hospital's support for nurses in cases of malpractice or negligent lawsuits. What I can comment is it's sad that they're going after the nurse because we know we know that's not how we've always done it, right? But we've seen isolated cases. You've heard about it. It's in the news. It's in the paper. It's been published wherein they go after the nurse, right? To me, why go after the nurse? The nurse doesn't have money, right? But that is just very, very sad is what I would say. Another one is always protect yourself too. Always have liability insurance, right?
Yes.
Malpractice insurance. I'd say that not everyone carries that, right? Anybody else has any opinion?
No,
Yes.
I'll add on to what you're saying. Oh, I'm sorry. I'll add on to what you're saying, Manny, that the hospitals will cover the nurse if you're following proper policy and procedure. However, it doesn't mean that the patient family can't still name you as a person to sue. So I agree with him to carry your own professional liability insurance. You can get it from A&A, and it may sound like a lot, but it's about 120 to 170 for a $4 million coverage, and you're going to graduate and make some good money. So you can afford to spend like $150 just to make sure you're insured. I would carry it throughout your career.
Right. Some schools require their students to buy them.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
But at
Other
the hospital where
comments?
I work,
All right, go ahead, Gigi. Gigi
so
Narisma,
the
Professor
hospital where I
Narisma.
work, it's a risk management investigation. You are still protected as a staff nurse in that organization, no matter what.
Okay. Very good. Okay, well, I want to announce already that in the spring, we will offer that webinar number 2, and it's going to be about resume building, okay? Portfolio creation. So again, our thank you to our PNAA, and don't go away because we're gonna have photos, right? PNAA Student Membership Task Force. I thank you. I'm so very proud of your love of our students and our members for delivering this to them. Thank you so much. They are so appreciative. Thank you so much. And look out for our next offering in spring of 2026. It's going to be portfolio and resume building, all geared for all of you from our PNAA Student Membership Task Force. All right, it's time for our photos. Oh, one last thing, an evaluation will be emailed to you together with the PowerPoint and resources that you need coming from this webinar. All right, Chairperson Carol Robles, let's have our photos. So open your cameras, please, and you will be disclosure, if you feel comfortable sharing your face in social media with PNAA, please do so. Okay, and there are 6 pages here. So Carol will take shots of each one. Are you taking photos now already?
Sure. No, not yet. Okay.
Not yet.
do
All
it.
right.
Let's
Put your
do it.
best face forward
Okay.
and
1,
smile.
2,
Don't forget to
smile.
smile.
Okay, I'm gonna take several. One more. 1, 2, smile. Okay, just hold your smile. Next page. 1, 2, smile. Okay. Third page. Smile.
Wow, ang dami natin.
Oo nga. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you
Okay.
for joining us. Thank you for
Smiling,
your
Carol.
support.
Smile. Smile. Keep smiling. Okay. Fourth. Sorry. Fifth one. Smile. And last one. 1, 2, smile. Okay, we're good.
Wow. Ang galing ng mga profile photo nyo, ah.
I know.
Very professional.
Oh, pang
All right.
LinkedIn yan.
Yes. So, panelists, student membership task force, if we could all stay, we'll do a quick debrief to our participants, to our students, to our members. Thank you so much for joining us today. We enjoyed having you. We look forward to having you again in the next webinar in spring. I think we're looking at February. That's still winter, actually, in the US of A. That's considered spring. I mean, winter. Although here in Florida, I'm in Florida, we never have spring. I mean, winter. So it's summer, 12 months of the year, right, Dr. Villaroya? That's why Dr. Villaroya moved down here in Miami, right, Dr. Villaroya? So to our student membership task force, please stay for our debriefing. And to our panelists, please stay also. Chairperson Carol Robles, if you would stay with us, we would appreciate it. To
Sure.
all of our participants, good night, magandang gabi, maraming salamat. Thank you, everyone.
And magandang
Love,
umaga.
love to all. Here we go. Oh, how do you do that? Like that? Or how do you do it? Like this. Ganun ba? All right. Very nice. Very good. Thank you so much. And we can stop recording, Carol.